talk to my friends from Salve Regina University taking Dance 201, taught by Professor Lindsay Garino. They'll know what to do.
Why Gus Giordano danced is rooted in his teaching philosophy. Becoming a master at what you do, dancing from the soul, using what inspires you, and giving back what you have learned is all a part of this philosophy. Gus fell in love with dance in 1928 when visiting his cousin, a tap dancer, in New Orleans, and began taking classes as soon as he returned to St. Louis. His vision as a dancer and choreographer did not include the gypsy life of a male dancer, but instead, he wanted a chance to use his own ideas and movements, which he began to do. During this time, whites dominated modern jazz. Racial tensions were evident, and appropriation was clear because whites performing dances rooted in African culture without the credit blacks deserved at this time.
If you want to know about who inspired Gus to dance, I actually did some research in my dance history class last week. In 1928, New Orleans, Giordano saw his older cousin tap dance and fell in love with what he saw. After seeing his cousin's performance, he knew that dance was his true calling. Along with that, seeing movie musicals and filmmaking at an early age prepped his creative soul for a lifetime of work. Giordano was also inspired and influenced by his teachers. In St. Louis, he started taking ballet and modern class from instructor Minette Buchman. Later, when he moved to New York City with his wife, he trained under Hanya Holm, Alan Nicolai, and Katherine Dunham. From these three modern pioneers, he was inspired to give technique and performance qualities equal worth. His supportive wife was also a huge inspiration in his life. She supported his dream of dancing while they lived in New York City, and he pursued his Broadway career. After that, they moved to Chicago and opened Gus Giordano Dance School and Gus Giordano Dance Chicago. From there, Giordano pulled from other inspirations such as Jack Cole, African vernacular dance, and techniques from ballet and modern to help him codify his own technique, the Giordano technique. His technique includes precise positioning of the hands and fingers and many isolations, moving the entire body while isolating different parts at once and keeping a deep plie with a low sense of gravity. His technique also included complex rhythms and precision of all movements. In 1953, he created the Giordano Dance School and formed the Giordano Dance Chicago, the first company of its kind that was solely jazz-based in 1963. Throughout his schools and company, the technique he created lived on.
Gus Giordano was a man who valued a strong technical foundation. His style showcased a beautiful level of challenging technical elements. When you watch dancers from his company, the many hours of ballet training are evident. His way of playing with rapid weight changes and rhythm still showcased the impeccable amount of proper technical training the dancers had. Even when working hard to develop and establish the Giordano technique, he made sure to never lose the pure sense of dancing for yourself. I read a book last week called Jazz Dance, A History of the Roots and Branches, and in it, they quote how Gus says to dance for your soul and give back what you have learned. The focus of his pieces strayed away from societal elements and rather focused on the meshing of technique and passion. Through this way of dancing, his company is recognized by Dance Magazine as being a burst of pure dance joy that left the audience breathless and ready for more. He danced about the present, about current inspirations in his life, and the continuing idea that jazz dance is always incorporating something new. Even with all of the emphasis on technique, pulse, weight change, and transitions, Giordano believes the soul needs to exude from the dancer. In that same book, in the chapter about Giordano, they quote how he likes to find the extraordinary in every day and choreographs according to that philosophy. In the same chapter, they talk about how he employed a women-like approach to perpetuating an art form and balanced a bravura sense of personal style with a true respect and love for others no matter his station in life. Gus did not always have his name in lights. He was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and started the Giordano Dance School in Evanston, Illinois in 1963. Only 3 years later, his vision of starting a company was coming to life. Giordano Dance Chicago started in 1966, right in Chicago, Illinois. Giordano spent his time in the spotlight as he performed on Broadway for many years. The glimmer and glam of the industry and the high-paced speed of the city influenced him to go back to the Midwest. He realized through experience that he did not want to continue with this lifestyle of learning and performing work. He instead wanted to spread his vision of jazz dance to other people. His passion for teaching led him to prestigious dance schools, including the American Ballet Theater, Theater American University of Paris, Duke University, and Joffrey Ballet. His teaching went international when he started teaching master classes, sharing his technique in Europe, Asia, and South America. Today, the company's home theater is still in the birth city of the company in Chicago at the beautiful Chicago Harris Theater, but the company still travels to tour internationally.
Giordano worked with composers like Jelly Roll Martin. He set his choreography to the music using the music as a source of inspiration. The back pulse of his music inspired the athletic fast movements, and the cool aesthetic of the song accentuated the slower movements. He choreographed in all areas of performance, including television, film, stage commercials, industrials, and concert dance.
You're in luck because we just learned a piece in our jazz class inspired by the Giordano technique. The music that Giordano typically choreographs to lends itself to having an athletic rhythm, a driving pulse, and a fast-paced tempo. Giordano took musical risks by experimenting with the music that is not always classified as jazz music. The song that we choreographed to, Got Glint by the Chemical Brothers, is not within the classical jazz spectrum. This song has that pulsing element that is apparent in many of Giordano's pieces and allows for the dancers to showcase the athleticism they trained for. If you want to come see it, come sit in on our rehearsal. You can see the weight changes and how the dancers create shapes by using their bodies to carve through space. We tried to emulate the use of the spotlight and showcase the dancers as soloists in duets and as an ensemble. The way the dancers traveled through space and crossed the stage is inspired by the movement patterns that Giordano often uses. Repetition is seen in this piece and allows the dancers to show their technique. There are athletic movements such as jumps and turns that plays with the speed and tempo. There is a lot of attention to detail of the choreography, and every moment comes with technical intention and feeling.
Although that wasn't original choreography, Giordano has an impressive list of accomplishments that he earned from his unique choreography. In 1984, Giordano received the Dance Educators of America Award for his outstanding contribution to the world of jazz dance. He received the 3rd annual Katherine Dunham Award for excellence and great contributions to the arts in 1999 and served as national spokesperson for National Dance Week in 1997. April 25th is Gus Giordano Day, enacted by Governor James Thompson in 1985 for Giordano's cultural contribution in Illinois. Former Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley also made October 13th Gus Giordano Day in Chicago. Giordano's nationally acclaimed 1980 television production, The Rehearsal, received an Emmy Award, the PBS Award, and the Ohio State Award.
Choreographing during this time period was unique because modern jazz dance was only just being developed. During this time, Giordano, along with other notable jazz choreographers, began to codify jazz dance, and they created a technique that successfully blended ballet and modern dance with vernacular jazz elements. To add, he set up his company in Chicago because he did not want to live the life of a male dancer in New York, and he wanted the opportunity to use his own ideas. It was important for Gus to create the art that he wanted to create. He was also unique because even though he was a famous choreographer and master educator, he was still very humble. He had prestige and a degree of celebrity, but he was still seen as very normal. For this reason, he remained approachable and could find beauty in the everyday life. This is why Giordano touched so many people's lives and has had such a great impact on the world of dance. Giordano was able to transform the field of modern dance and left an extraordinary legacy for decades to come. He was a dancer, choreographer, master teacher, founded a company, an author, and always worked to make jazz dance become a respected art form. In terms of his choreography, many of his dances, such as the famous Sing, 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 have withstood the test of time, and his incredible technique is taught worldwide today. Also, as a choreographer, he made an impact on the dancers' lives because he was invested in his dancers 100% and recognized individual talent and always sought to encourage his students by giving them praise for their hard work. He additionally was very generous and would give out numerous scholarships to his students. For example, he established the Gus Giordano Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that raises money to provide scholarships and education to deserving young dancers to fund their dance education to ensure that jazz stays alive. His company has flourished for over 50 years, and this attests to his vision and technique being timeless and superb. In addition, he established the first Jazz Dance World Congress in 1990. The Congress consisted of countless jazz master companies and teachers meeting and exchanging their knowledge and skills through master classes and more. The event has been held in various cities in the United States, as well as Mexico, Germany, Japan, and Costa Rica. He has also left a lasting legacy through his several books that he has written. The Anthology of American Jazz Dance, published in 1976, is an important work regarding jazz dance and was one of the first books of its kind. All in all, he was a master at his craft, was revolutionary, and a true innovator, which is why he will be remembered and revered as one of the best modern jazz dance choreographers.
Whew, that was easy. Thanks, dancers from Dance 201, taught by Professor Lindsay Garino. I hope you guys I get a good grade. Time to submit.